This is the Average to Savage podcast with Paul Guarino. Everyone and anyone, athletes, celebs, and much more.
What's up, everybody? I'm back for another episode of the Average Savage podcast. Our special guest today, Chicago Cubs prospect, Zack Short. Zack, how's it going?
What's going on, man? How are you? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on.
No doubt.
Yeah, just got to say, me and Zack are both went to school together, Sacred Heart University, repping the small D1 schools.
Pioneers, baby.
Yeah. They're hot right now too. Also,
I
sports.
know. My friend is actually a better, whatever, and he's told me that they were. I mean, I check in once in a while, but I haven't been checking. He said, "Dude, they're hot. You got to get in on them."
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if you. When's the last time you've been back?
I went back this off season. I usually try to go back a few times in the off season. I'm pretty close with a bunch of the coaches still. Mm-hmm. A few guys that when I got drafted, they were freshmen, and the rest of my class was still there. I went back a bunch, so I know a bunch of them. So I like going back just to even talk to them about where the game's going and everything, try to give my 2 cents. And, I mean, we're all trying to learn anyway, so if they have something good, I would like to pick their brains and kind of vice versa. Yeah,
for sure. Definitely a lot of new buildings, right?
Right. Dude, that place is crazy now.
What year were you a freshman?
2013.
Okay, yeah. So what was I? So I was a senior when you were a freshman? Yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah.
And then they gotta get a baseball field next.
I know, dude. I don't know what the deal is.
Bobby V, baseball, doesn't really make sense.
I know. I think there's stuff in the works. It's just so complicated. Yeah. I mean, it's frustrating though, but
for sure. All right, let's go back in time a little bit. How'd you get involved playing baseball?
I mean, for as long as I can remember, I always just had just a bat and a ball in my hand no matter what. Just wherever I went, I was playing baseball with somebody. I was finding a way, even my dad's softball games that he played in, I would always try to make people throw to me during the game when they weren't hitting or anything like that. And then just kind of grew, it's just something that I've loved forever. And I love to keep learning about it. It's interesting where the game's going today. And I mean, it's cool to look back on where you came from, like you said, a small D1 school. And I mean, just fell in love with it.
Coming out of high school, what was your recruiting process like? And did you played AAU, right?
Yeah, I mean, coming out of high school, it kind of sucked. I was 140 pounds. I mean, soaking wet. I was really skinny. I had a lot of skills. I mean, I obviously couldn't hit for power at that weight, but I was very fortunate enough that Coach G, when I was there, recruited me, and he saw the athlete in me. I mean, it was tough. I didn't have the greatest of grades either coming out of high school. I mean, I'm not saying I had low 80s, but I could have done better, and that's probably a big regret that I had looking back. If I ever talk to kids, that's always what I say is, get the homework done, do whatever it has to do to get done. I mean, in reality, it's really not that hard what you're doing. Obviously, it's hindsight's 2020, but and then, I mean, I had a few schools. Sacred Heart was actually my only offer after my junior year. And they gave me an offer, which I was very fortunate enough to have, and ran with it.
That was crazy. That was your only D1 offer?
That was my only offer. It was between Fairfield and Sacred Heart. And Fairfield said they were going to offer on a certain date. Sacred Heart gave me a deadline on that date. And I asked if I could give it one more day, and Sacred Heart actually bumped the offer up. And Fairfield actually never called when they were supposed to, and they called the next day, and I told them I already committed to Sacred Heart. So it was kind of a shitty feeling, but I mean, obviously in hindsight, it really worked out.
Yeah, that's crazy. You got to play Fairfield, right?
Yeah, every year, and the coach always said that he regretted it, but I mean, it worked out for both of us. But
what was that? What was that first game like playing against Fairfield? Were you kind of salty?
I mean, it was all right. I mean, I understood where they were coming from. Like I like I said, I was 140 pounds. It was kind of tough for someone to bite on me, but it is what it is, and that's kind of where I've been my whole life. I've been a small guy, kind of always been doubted, and I've worked my way to where I am now with that chip on my shoulder. From any level when I was young to where I am now, I'm kind of always getting not written off, but, kind of overlooked a little bit being the size I am, but it just adds fuel to the fire, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. And what was your freshman year like at Sacred Heart? Did you have to beat out anybody for the shortstop position?
No, freshman year was kind of awesome. Me and Ted Shaw, we were the two infielders that were coming in, kind of walked into a perfect situation. Second and base and shortstop were open from the year before. And it was just, a battle of who was going to play where. And, right in the fall, we kind of had our positions set. We both worked out at both positions at second and short. But we didn't really have to compete too much. It kind of just fell. We actually, freshman year, we opened up with Tulane. And I think the first game we won, and we turned some sick double plays like late in the game. And then Coach G, at the end, when we were getting showered and everything, he went up to Ted and I and said, "Hey, I think we're going to move you guys tomorrow just to get more looks." And me and Ted were just like, "No, absolutely not." And ever since, that day, I played every game at shortstop.
And then, going into your sophomore year, I know you guys won the championship. So what was that championship run like?
That was awesome because I think we started the year 0-11. And, we went on an awesome run. Bryant that year was really good. We played Wagner in the first round. We were down 1-0 in the ninth inning, ended up coming back and winning that game. And then we went to a game 7, game 4 or 5, whatever it is. But, sudden death game against Bryant. Had to come back in that game too. And, it was awesome. Just that you couldn't have scripted that year any better. It was kind of like a movie, like the underdogs, finding a way to do it. And that's kind of what we went through every year. We were the underdogs from the Northeast.
Yeah, actually, if I recall right, 2014, you guys lost in the championship, right?
Yeah, we lost to Bryant. Yep.
And then you beat them the following. Yeah, that's great.
And then we beat them. Yeah, it was they were always a team to beat, so it just made it that much better.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, every year they were stacked.
Oh yeah, and they still are.
And then going into your junior year, after that season, what was your decision to go into the draft, and was it hard to leave early?
So my junior year, I sucked. I don't know what it was going through. I was overanalyzing absolutely everything. It was just like I just couldn't get out of a slump. And honestly, I haven't really felt the same since then, which is really weird. But yeah, I struggled all year, and the Cubs were kind of the first team that I really talked to in the summer before when I played in the Cape Cod League. They were really interested, and they were the team that kind of stuck by me when I was struggling. They saw past the year, and it was really tough to leave because we pictured us getting drafted a little bit earlier, and the call really never came on the third day. It just kept they kept going drafted, like the rounds just kept going flying by. And I had my boys there, and it was really tough to leave. But at the end of the day, I was playing obviously to get a degree and everything, but I wanted to continue my dream, and you never know what happens. So I kind of just ran with it. Like I said, that it was awesome. At the same time, it was really stressful, but it was just awesome how the way it worked out.
Yeah. What was it like playing for Coach G?
He was the best. He was so ahead of the game in some aspects. He was huge into the mental game of the mental part of the game. We had meditation every Thursday before our Friday game, and we all thought it was stupid at the time. And the Cubs, right when I first get here, they talk about how big the mental game is. The mental program, the mental skills program here is huge. And looking back at it, you're just like, wow, G knew it all. And he recruited athletes who played all over the place, and he was just one of a kind. He got the best out of everybody one way or another.
That's crazy. You ever show you guys the Super Bowl ring?
Oh yeah. Every year we had a winter camp 4 weeks right before we left, and the camp always ended on Super Bowl Sunday. It was one day a week, Sunday nights, and it always ended on Super Bowl Sunday. And he always wore his ring that day. So I saw it 3 years, and it's so sick just to hear the stories about it.
Yeah, actually, I interviewed him for my grad school project, and it was cool because like he never really talked to me about it, so it was like dope to
No,
actually
right. You would
yeah.
never know either, which is awesome about him.
Yeah, I even like because I lived with all the football kids, and I was like, yeah, he was in the NFL. He won the Super Bowl. And they were like, what? Like, why is he? Like,
right.
I was like, why don't you go talk? I told him too. I was like, why don't you go talk to the football team? Like, that'd be dope for them.
Yeah, he just, like I said, he was so ahead of the game in some aspects, and he was the best. I miss playing for him so much.
Has he went to any of your minor league games?
Yeah, he came in 2017. We were down in North Carolina somewhere, and he came, and it was kind of brought some tears to my eyes just to see how hard we both worked for me to get there. You know, he saw something in a 140-pound freshman start every game freshman year, and I mean, he just believed in me, and it was just awesome to see that after, you know, hundreds of other schools kind of wrote me off for one reason or another.
Yeah, it's so crazy to me because I didn't even know that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's the best.
What was your first minor league baseball game like?
It was weird. I mean, being an infielder, there's not many guys who speak English for the most part. Mm-hmm. And then especially in rookie ball too, which is the lowest level where you start out. I mean, I was literally a minority. Literally, I don't think anybody on the field but me and one other guy who got drafted at the same time. I mean, everybody starts at a different time when we first get drafted. Like, your physical happens at a different time. I mean, it's whatever. But, you know, at the time, I was legitimately the only guy who spoke any sort of English on the field. And it's kind of a culture shock. But at the same time, you realized where you were and who you were playing with. It was really cool.
Yeah, you guys just had to speak baseball. Right,
exactly. You know, one way or another, figure it out. And we actually cleared benches my first or second game, and it was just like, all right, well, this is it. This is, you know, and it was pretty cool.
And then, going out through the years, you're going into your fifth season, which is crazy.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
So what's the journey been like? Just going, you literally been at every level. So what's that been like?
Yeah. It's a grind, man. You know, you're playing 140 games every year, and you know, like I said, I've been in spring training here out in Arizona, and you know, I've been here since February 9th, and you know, like I said, it's just so much going on, and minor league season doesn't start for another month. You know, and it's just like you do all this prep all off season for, you know, 140 games, but then you're working out for literally the whole year. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's a grind on your body and mentally. You go through so many ups and downs, just like in any other sport, except in baseball, you're one of the only sports that you play every day. You know, so you got to either, if you had a good or bad game, you can't dwell on it because you got to get ready for the next day. And I mean, if you let it snowball, it'll snowball quick before you realize it.
Yeah, and then people for that don't know, like, tell me what the travel is like in the minor leagues versus college.
Yeah, travel sucks. So in short season, I think the roster is allowed, I think, like 10 or so more guys. And I mean, you're traveling anywhere from 5 to 10 hours on a regular bus, not a school bus, but a coach bus. I mean, there's guys sleeping on the floor. It's terrible. It's honestly terrible. And then, you know, in AAA, you fly, and it sounds better, but you have to get like the first flight that is offered. So, I mean, you guys have a 3 o'clock or 3:30 bus from the hotel to the airport, and then you play that night. So say we're flying from Round Rock, Texas at 6 a.m. You have a game back in Iowa at 7. So you're landing around noon or so. You get back to your apartment by 1, take a 3-hour nap, and you go to the field and just ready to go. You're kind of running on fumes, and that really takes a toll on your body. You know, guys, you know, you're playing in front of fans, but it's like, yeah, but you don't understand what we did to get there, you know? Well, what the flight and bus ride we did to play a game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think fans definitely don't get that even at the professional, like at the major league level. Like, it's still a grind, like to fly everywhere too. Like, it's crazy.
100%. It might be a little bit easier in the bigs because you fly charter and everything, but still. I mean, you're still getting into some cities at 3 or 4
different
o'clock in the morning to play. Right.
Crazy.
Right.
And then what was it like? I know like a couple of seasons you got called up like during the season. So what was that like? And like, how did they promote you basically? Like, how'd they tell you?
Yeah, so in 2017, I got moved up from low A to high A. And in low A, I mean, I was hitting like 275 the whole year. And I hit a month, I think in July or June, where I literally hit 100. And I mean, I couldn't hit water if I fell out of a boat. It was so bad. And they called me to the office. And I mean, on the way to the office, I thought I was getting sent down. And they actually told me I was going up. And I was going to Myrtle Beach where our team was. And it was awesome because you kind of got like a fresh start. Mm-hmm. And again, you know, it's just another person who believes in you, a few people who believed in you. And it just kind of gives you that kick in the butt to keep going.
Yeah, and I know last year you broke your hand or something.
Yeah, I got hit by a pitch on the 6th game of the year in AAA last year. And then I missed 3 months and I got back and I was nowhere near the same, you know, just mentally or physically. And it was, looking back at it, I'm kind of not thankful, but thankful it happened. You know, if I had to go through something like this again, I kind of know how to deal with it a little bit better, I think. You know, it really is a gut punch. You know, you're on top of the world one day and the next pitch, you know, I'm thankful that it was only 3 months, you know, and it's just something that you don't picture ever happening. And when it does, you kind of, you know, we'll kind of see what you're kind of made of, you know?
Yeah. Did you start at AA or AAA last year?
No, I broke in AAA. Got hurt, missed 3 months, went to AA for 5 games just to get acclimated again. And then went back to AAA, struggled, got sent down to AA they told me it was because we had some big league guys rehabbing and they wanted to get more ABs. And when they went back up, I went back up for the playoffs and a little bit more of the regular season. And then went to the fall league this year, which was awesome as well.
Gotcha. What's that just been like, even just moving, like living in different places?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of, again, the minor league grind that people don't really understand. There's some guys who, I mean, in a 2-bedroom apartment, they'll sleep 6 guys. You know, they'll have 3 or 4 guys in the living room on air mattresses and everything just to make ends with the payments that we're getting. And, you know, I mean, there's some seniors who sign out of high school for $1,000, you know, and that's the money they have, you know, that you're making whatever you are every 2 weeks. And I mean, it's shitty, man. But I mean, again, you know, you kind of play for it for the love of the game and for hopefully that big paycheck you get one day.
Yeah, definitely. And then I know you're in the spring training right now with the Cubs. So what's that been like?
It's been awesome. Being in big league camp right now, you really see all the guys, you know, like the Chris Bryants, the Anthony Rizzo, the Javi Baez's, to, you know, how they work. You know, they get there whatever time, and you can kind of just watch how the pros how they go about their work and become great. You know, it's no secret. You know, if you work your ass off, the odds are they're in your favor that you're going to succeed at whatever you're doing, and that's what they do day in and day out for 162 plus games a year.
Has there been any of the Cubs that taken you under their wing and trying to teach you new stuff? Yeah,
Ian Happ last year, he was sent down to start the year for a little bit in AAA, and we got really close. He's been awesome to me. I've reached out to him multiple times about the swing, just about life, you know, and he's always been there. I can't say enough nice things about him. I mean, anybody really you talk to in camp will always talk back to you. Obviously, they're humans. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, you can have a question about everything, and, you know, they'll do their best to answer. But Ian Happ definitely has been huge for me.
Yeah, what about, like, the new technology with just, like, learning about, like, hitting and just, like, the sabermetrics and analytics? Like, do you think that helps you, or are you, like, old school?
No, I'm definitely new school. I kind of get myself in trouble sometimes, though, too. You know, like, new school is, you know, get the ball in the air and do damage. And I've kind of taken that to too far an extent sometimes. And it's, I kind of like where the game's going. You know, obviously there's a lot of technology, like you said, but it's at the same time, it takes out, you know, I don't know how to explain it, but I see kind of both sides to it. Yeah. You know, like I said, I like the technology, but at the same time, it takes, you know, it's kind of the team camaraderie out of it. You know, they don't have those older guys who keep the team together sometimes, you know, like all the technology leads to the Astros and the Dodgers. But, you know, if you look at the Nationals this year, they had Howie Kendrick, you know, and Adam Eaton leading these young guys to the World Series, you know, like how much fun they have. And, you know, technology can't measure that. But, I mean, at the same time, the technology that we use today, it does help you win games in the long run. But, the team aspect of it and the leadership, that can't be measured by technology.
Yeah, like I'm hoping that the umpires don't become robots.
Right. Yeah, we had that at one field this year in the fall league, and it's good and all, but at the same time, it just takes the human element out of the game, and it's not baseball. It really isn't.
So you're telling me was there no umpire like behind the plate?
No, there was. So they kind of had like an AirPod in, and they said they had like a Siri voice. If you clicked the strike zone that said strike or ball, and I mean I'm stubborn where I know if it's a strike or ball, if I'm going to let the umpire know sometimes, and it helps for me if I know the ball is off the plate, I can kind of trust in the track man, which they call it. But I mean, the up and down is kind of tough. Like those big slow curve balls that bounce, they could clip the bottom of the strike zone, according to the computer or whatever it is. But it was interesting to see, and it's kind of like you look back at the umpire like, dude, that's not me. I didn't call that. It's the computer.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And what are your goals for 2020 season?
Just become a better, person and a player in the game. Never stop learning. Go in and day out and just enjoy every moment that you can. There's thousands of people, hundreds of millions of people who would kill to be in my shoes. And, there's some times where, you kind of take it for granted and you want to pinch yourself like, dude, like, think about where you were 20 years ago. Like, this is what you want to dream to be doing. You want to be – I'm knocking on the door to the big leagues. And, I don't really have specific goals, but it's just play every day hard and just, like I said, never stop learning and just get better each and every day.
Yeah. What advice would you give to a young player either trying to get like a Division I scholarship or trying to go pro?
Like I said, definitely do your homework first. You don't want yourself closing doors like I did from schools that just can't get into the school. But what I can say is, put the video games down. Get outside and just play, man. Get better. Find a way to get better, and don't let anybody tell you no. That's what I got.
Has any of the other Sacred Heart baseball alum that were in the minors like reach out to you, or Troy Scribner? He made the majors.
Yeah, Scribner and I talk once in a while. I haven't talked to him in a while, but I mean, I talked to Jason Foley, who's with the Tigers right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, we talk every day just in a group message, and he's getting ready to go too, and I think he'll have a huge year as well.
What about John Murphy?
Yes, actually. I actually had breakfast with him last week. He was out and they were playing. He's at Boston College, and we had breakfast. He's playing. They were playing ASU, and actually, Alex Trezza was a coach when I was a freshman at school, and we were really close. So he was there too. He's also at Boston College. So we had a nice breakfast. It was pretty cool just to chop it up again.
Yeah, it's dope. Small world,
Yeah, right?
All right, you ready for some fun questions? We're going to go from average to savage.
Yeah, let's do it.
What's your favorite city that you played in or visited so far?
Ooh, favorite city? I would say Tacoma in Washington was awesome. I've never really been out there before. I went to Nashville this year, was awesome. I'm not really even a country guy either, but the vibes they had there was so sick. I would say last year those two were awesome.
What's your favorite song right now?
Right now?
Oh, what's your walk-up song going to be this year?
I'm thinking either "Out of Control" by Mobb Deep remix with 50 Cent, or "Heart of the City" by Jay-Z. Jay-Z is my guy, so I always try to keep a New York guy as my walk-up. Last year I had "Why" by Jadakiss.
All right, I like that.
Yeah. Right now, I don't know. Right now, I don't really have actually, I think "King of My City" by A Boogie might be it.
All right. What do you like to do in your downtime?
I love the golf, especially out in Arizona. There's so many courses. It's tough now, obviously, with games and everything going on, but golf is definitely my number one. And if I can just go shoot around on a basketball hoop, like the hotel I'm staying at right now is a court, and I go a few times a week just to shoot and just, do something other than baseball, get my mind off of it.
Yeah, definitely. And if you weren't a pro baseball player, what do you think you'd be doing?
I I wanted to go to school to be an athletic director, so I'm assuming I would try to have gone somewhere with that. Other than that, probably somewhere coaching for sure.
All right, so I only did this one other time. Let's reverse the interview, and you can ask me any question you want.
All right. How did you end up getting into the, marketing yourself and having your own clothing line and everything? How did you get it so big to where your brand is now?
Well, I started in 2011. I was sitting at my house. I think it was in between freshman year and sophomore year. So I started a Twitter page just like tweeting about sports, and then, I went from the clothing to there, and then the media, and then the blogging, and then now I'm doing into the sports marketing. So that's a very short story about it.
So you did it when you were in college, though?
Yeah. So I was.
That's crazy. Yeah, so I was 19. Like you said, it kind of just happened so quick.
Yeah, funny story. Like freshman year, I was like, "Yo, I want to be like Mark Zuckerberg," and like I was like staying up late trying to think of ideas so I could like drop out of college.
Right.
Like literally, I was chilling and seeing like with my computer at 3 a.m. I'm like, "Yo, I gotta drop out. Like I want to drop out and be successful." Forget college. If I was going to college right now, I probably wouldn't have went to college, if that makes sense. If I was a senior in college, if I was a senior in high school, so yeah.
Right. That's what it happens more often than that we all think, because the norm is like, oh, you got to go to college, do whatever. But there's so many people who are so motivated and then don't kind of need that kind of thing, Yeah,
it's like, and I know all pretty much a majority of my friends are in student debt, and it's just like you're working. Exactly. You're just working to pay off your debt, which you didn't really need to have.
Right.
You could have probably just went and got that job anyways.
Right. Exactly. So I got one more then. So what would you tell somebody, younger or sitting in their freshman dorm room? What would you tell them how you got there? Like what advice would you give them?
What advice if they're a freshman in college? Well, I would say, so what I've been telling the people if they want to go to college, I say if you're getting a good scholarship, then sure, go for it. If it's really like if it's cheap, if you're not gonna put yourself in like $100K or plus, basically. Right. I'd still go to college, and like it's kind of cliche, but I would say you kind of should know what you want to do, even though you might be trying to find yourself. But the best alternative, I think, is like we were just talking about the job wise. Is so say if I didn't go to college, I would go try to get an internship somewhere and try out all different internships and see what I like, and then hopefully work my way up from there, just like anybody else that doesn't go to college and they go to say like say they go to like Walmart, and then all of a sudden they become the manager, and they become the regional manager, then they somehow go to headquarters, like something like that.
Right, 100%.
Like it's like so say like a high schooler worked for 4 years, and me and you went to college for 4 years. They might be ahead of us, technically.
Right, exactly, 100%.
Crazy. Yeah, appreciate those questions. You had some good ones right there.
No, that's good stuff.
You got a future maybe in that. Maybe I need a Zack Short pod. I really need a Zack Short vlog because I need to see all this stuff.
Hopefully, a bunch of years down the road, I can do something like this. I want to keep playing though for now.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and could you let the listeners know where they can follow you at?
Yeah, you can follow me. I think on my Twitter is at @zshort_20, and then my IG is at @zshort_4.
And good luck this season. I'll be checking you out.
No doubt. Appreciate it, brother.